Hello everyone, it's Paola and today I'm going to talk about the musicals that I watched because of GLEE. This doesn't mean that I found out about them because of GLEE. It doesn't mean that I was like biased because of GLEE. It's just musicals that GLEE referenced occasionally and that I was like, that sounds like something I should watch. Let's see what I think of it. And then I did, and my thoughts and feelings vary. The first one is Les Mis. I feel weird saying it like Les Mis. Anyway, I'm assuming everyone already knows what this is about, and obviously I had already heard of it before GLEE, but like I was more interested in it because of Lea Michelle's rendition of On My Own. And then I guess I never really paid much attention to Les Mis or GLEE for that matter. But when I started to get homeschooled, I started to get a little bit more into musicals, just, focus on what my favorite actors were doing. And so in came Anne Hathaway as Fantine. And I was very excited about it because for some reason I forgot that Anne Hathaway could sing and that she could sing as well as she does. So I watched the 2012 movie of it and I enjoyed it. I know people have a lot of feelings about how it was adapted because of the approach that the director took with the whole like shtick of having them sing live at all times and stuff like that. But I personally thought it was a very interesting, very like vulnerable production. And I enjoy it. Sometimes I will want to rewatch the movie. I just rewatched it like 2 months ago. I would never, ever, 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 ever spend my hard-earned money on a production of Les Miserables unless I watch it in French. I don't know, like there's just something about the English production that I just don't care for because I've already seen it in a movie, so it's like, and there's recordings of Carrie Hope Fletcher doing Fantine, so that's as good as it's gonna get for me. Chicago, I had also heard about this one, but I never really paid much attention to it until GLEE because, they did the whole offensive thing where they were trying to like give Coach Beast some sort of apology. I believe it was an apology, wasn't it, when they were joking about physical abuse or like domestic abuse. I don't remember like the context exactly, and then they thought they were doing something with this one and I was like, that's a very cool song. Unfortunate context, but really cool song regardless. And so I watched the movie and I was like, oh wow, this is a whole other level of theater. And it was the first one that I saw that was like poking fun at like, becoming famous because you killed someone, like doing crime to become famous. I think it's interesting how it explores this like need for fame because the two main characters were already like wanting to be front and center. I don't know. It's just a fun musical. It doesn't have to be that deep. I wish I had been able to catch it when it was in Mexico. It was in Mexico. It would still be running if it hadn't been for coronavirus, but it is what it is, I guess. West Side Story. Ugh, this is unfortunate. I watched GLEE and I was like, oh, okay, let's watch it. So I watched the movie. And I hate that musical with so much of my being. It's just bad. I don't know what it's trying to do, but I feel like it's one of those fake deep musicals that tries to make you think, and then it's like, I don't think, what? My head is empty. Not to mention everyone was doing brown face, including Rita Moreno, so it's just like very uncomfortable. Will I watch the movie coming in December? I don't know. I don't know if I want to watch it. Not only because I don't like West Side Story, but because it's been riddled with all these ugly things since its revival was announced. I will leave links to the whole controversy down below. And then we found out that Ansel Elgort was also a piece of shit, which I will also be leaving down below. I don't really like care for anyone in the cast aside from Ariana DeBose, who also plays the bullet in Hamilton. The Rocky Horror Show. Now this one is kind of funny for me because when I was in 3rd grade I was in this extracurricular thing with theater and tap, and it was great. And one day the teacher brought his copy of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which is the movie version of the show, and we were like, "Ooh, what's that?" And he was like, "It's a movie and it's a musical." And we were like, "Can we watch it?" And he was like, no, you're too young." And then I wasn't that young anymore and I decided to watch it because of Glee. I thought it was very interesting. I thought it was, you know, this just wild ride, and John Stamos was a part of it. So I was like, maybe I'll get something out of that. And the thing that I got out of watching the Rocky Horror Picture Show was a whole lot of fun. I love this show. I love that it's just like so wild and it makes no sense. And it's just fun, and it's Tim Curry in heels and a corset with lipstick on. It's fun. It's so much fun. And I will say that Diana Agron doing like the magenta thing was like one of my many sexual awakenings. So I respect the Rocky Horror Show. And then these next musicals are musicals that I want to watch because I saw them referenced in Glee. And upon my deep dive into falling in love with theater and stuff like that, I am still behind on watching all of these things. The first one is The King and I. This is not one that I haven't seen. I have seen the movies, yes, too. The original one from the 1950s and the animated one from the 1990s. And I love it so much. I am overdue for a rewatch. My Fair Lady. This is one that interested me not just because of Glee, but also because Julie Andrews, I think one time, if I find the story, I will leave a link to it down below. But Julie Andrews talked about how she was going to play Eliza Doolittle, but she became pregnant, I think, and so she lost the role to Audrey Hepburn, and instead she went on to do Mary Poppins, and she won an Oscar for Mary Poppins. So I thought it was a very interesting anecdote, and since then I've been meaning to watch the movie with Audrey Hepburn. Not to mention that I got a big kick of seeing a woman who played Emma doing the I Could Have Danced All Night thingy with the wedding dress. People think it's cringy, I think it's adorable. Dreamgirls. This is one that not only Glee has to do with me wanting to see it, but also Orange is the New Black. I personally don't even remember which character. I think it was the girl who ran. She was like on her way of getting out of her neighborhood so that she could go to a more elite school, and where she could like exploit that running talent. And she goes into the theater. I don't know if it's in an accident or why. There's this white girl in blackface. She was very, very uncomfortable by it. Not the white girl, but the black girl. And she was talking about how white people keep taking things away from her and from black people in general. And since that day I've been meaning to watch it. And then I watched Cats with Jennifer Hudson as Grisabella, and I was like, when am I finally going to sit down and watch it? I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully it's soon. Then the last three, I'm going to go over them really quickly because I'm running out of time to film. But anyway, the first one is Funny Girl. Obviously, I've been meaning to watch it since I saw that Rachel Berry was so completely obsessed with it. And then I recently, I think it was this year, that I was watching Glee and I finally made it through season 5. And I think in season 4, Santana, aka Naya Rivera, auditioned for the understudy for Fanny in Funny Girl, and I was like, wow. It was like watching Daphne Rubin Vega doing the song for Fantine. You know, it's just the voice of Daphne Rubin Vega, you would never associate it with a role like Fantine, because Fantine is like, you know, very high. And you know, when you think of Daphne Rubin Vega, you don't think of Fantine, you think of Magenta and Mimi. And when I saw that, I was like, oh my god, it makes so much sense. And that's what happened to me when I watched Naya Rivera do Don't Rain on My Parade. I'm very sad that she's no longer in this plane of existence. The next one is A Chorus Line. To be honest, I mainly just want to watch it because of how simple the staging is. Just love that. I think theater was created on such basics, you know, trying with as little as they could to do something. And I feel like this musical would give me so much, but I also feel like this musical has a lot of depth to it. I mean, it won a Pulitzer Prize, that I'm genuinely scared of watching it and hitting a wall with my own insecurities and my own personal journey. And the last one is Company. I watched that episode of the Not Getting Married Today, and I was like, oh my god, can anyone do that live? And I saw the clip of, I feel disrespectful for not knowing who did it in the recording that I saw, but wow. Luckily, they were doing the production of Company in 2020 on Broadway with Katrina Lenk as in the leading role, and I was like, well, damn, I guess now I have to watch it for good. Those are all the musicals that I want to watch because of Glee, and the ones that I watched because of Glee. Let me know down below if Glee influenced your musical theater kid into doing something, because it definitely influenced me a whole lot, even though that show is a big old mess. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already and you'd like to, go ahead and hit subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!